just as skills allow things to show themselves, they also allow people to show up and be the people that they are. As a craftsperson, as they learn how to work with wood, how to hammer, how to use the equipment, they'll start to see things that someone without those skills doesn't see. They become someone who inhabits a world differently.
Can you describe the process of choosing the piece of wood? How do you tell if it's the right piece of wood or the wrong piece of wood?
The same human being, personality. You can see the color. Some horrible personality, that kind of wood you can use. Twist, some stores sell that kind of wood. Same price. You work on all the time, you know, color different, grain, tight grain, loose grain, big grain, heavy wood. Very beautiful yellow color, dark brown color, unbelievable. If you come very good, nice wood, I feel good. But you can find a good wood. Couple of days, not fun. It's not fun.
Our bodies, our ways of being get attuned to the world. And there's a kind of understanding there that we can't explain. We're very poor at articulating. Rules work by ignoring details. What anyone who's very skilled in a domain knows is that being very skilled means responding not just in general terms to the situation, but responding very specifically to what the situation demands. So a chef working in the kitchen can't go by the rules in the cookbook.
Let me tell you about rules in cooking. You know, I had a book written by a woman, and she put the recipes in the book that her housekeeper, or at that time, was the mammy of the house, you know, but she was the lady who ran the house. So naturally, all her friends, when the lady wrote the cookbook somewhere about 1910 or something, they asked her, well, why do you give her all your recipes and all your things? So her answer, and was a good one, she said, you know, cooking is like religion. Rules don't no more make a cook than sermons make a saint. So you can have all the recipes, all the rules you want, and you could take the same things I'm doing here, and maybe you can't do the same things I do.
Risk is absolutely important in becoming a master, in fact, in acquiring any skills at all, because you have to leave the rules behind and stop doing what one generally does and doing the standard thing, and you push out into your own experience of the world.
You have to take risks. You have to do something that the rules don't tell you to do so that you can start to learn to get tuned into the particular features of the situation.
What are the most important things to master?
Learning to read ocean conditions, knowing your boat, practice, experience, and I guess there's an element of luck, and then probably have some balls too.
Just the human element in controlling one of these boats. When they take off, they won't do this. They'll climb this way like a plane, and the next thing you know, you are going swimming.
The question then arises whether the people who are running speedboat races are bringing out something important about the boat or about the water that they are sensitive to and nobody has ever been responsive to before, or whether the water and the boats are just means to achieve some particular goal, like being the fastest boat. It may be that some of them are doing one and some of them are doing another and some of them are doing both.
So the willingness to take risks is a very important stage in moving beyond just competence in following the rules and doing what everyone else does, to getting into the position where you learn what you're supposed to be responding to.
What distinguishes the kind of risks we're interested in from just bravado is whether the risks are taken in the interest of what somebody is committed to, what they've defined themselves in terms of, and what makes the meaningful differences in their lives. That kind of risk is a special kind of risk that is a necessary part of becoming a master in anything.
Heidegger calls this fairly dramatically running forward into death. And what that means, I think, is being willing to embrace a particular kind of possibility and let other possibilities die off. Risks of looking ridiculous, for example, risks of genuinely losing things you might regret losing later on.
Taking risks is important. It's an essential part of jazz. Improvisation is supposed to be the element of freedom, venturing into space that hasn't been seen before. You're supposed to always be trying something new, instead of playing patterns or just playing something that everybody's heard before. Sometimes I'm surprised myself. Sometimes I'll listen back to something I played and be like, oh man, did I play that? In a good way, you know? And then other times I'm like, oh man, did I play that?
Why do you do the things you do? I like what I do, but I've learned I don't care how old you are. You take a risk. You do what you have to do and keep going.
In addition to the fact that you can't ever get beyond a rule-governed behavior without taking risks, there's also a kind of exhilaration or joy in human existence, leaving the rules behind, going out on the edge, letting the world show something new to them. The risk takers are the ones who disclose new worlds, disclose new ways to be human, new ways to behave, discover new things about the world.
So I studied this man. He teaches me and how to sharpening. But he don't teach it up. And I look what he does. So I saw and how to do it many times. The teacher, he don't teach you anything. Sometimes clean up on the floor a couple of years. Teacher said, clean up on the sawdust. I go there, clean up sawdust.
You commit yourself, and it's through your commitment that all of a sudden the world is organized in terms of things that are meaningful to do and things that are irrelevant to do.
I don't stop, just the money to quickly to make a job done. I'm not. I like to do so. Sometimes I rather lose money. I estimate overbuying material. Sometimes I'm very angry.
What happens when you have this commitment to a particular something that's finite and that you could lose and that's risky, and you hold yourself open to it completely, what happens in that situation is that you get a sort of meaningful existence, and the meaningful existence is the one that identifies who you are. It's your meaningful existence. It's the one that picks you out as an individual because nobody else understands the particular hierarchy of meaningful differences the way you do. The issue is, what is it to be the kind of being that we are? And you want to explore that issue by asking, what is it to be the best version of us? When we're operating at our best, we're precisely not detached from the situation that we're involved in. Rather, we've opened ourselves up to being called to act in a certain way in the situation. So you find examples of this all over the place. I read recently a book by John McPhee called A Sense of Where You Are, which is a book about Bill Bradley, who was an extraordinary college basketball player and went on to be a great basketball player in the NBA. He says the most amazing thing about Bradley when he's taking the ball down the court is his vision. He says he doesn't seem to be looking at anything. Rather, he's a glaze of panoptic attention. He has this, there's a kind of glaze, he's not focused on anything, but he's ready to be drawn into whatever it is that's calling him to act at the moment.
Authenticity means owning up to the situation you're in, confronting the situation, and doing just what needs to be done. It's a responsiveness to the unique particular situation you're in. When you're authentic, you're resolute. You're confronting the situation you're in as this particular situation, not just as an example of a kind of situation.
I call it the teenage boy phenomenon. When boys often are trying to figure out how they ought to act and what it's cool to do and what it's uncool to do in particular situations, you often find some of them who do what they're sure one ought to do in a particular situation, and they do it because they're sure they ought to do it, and it's always a disaster.
When kids are coming up and they're learning to play in schools and they're in that sort of formal environment where they're in front of a teacher playing music, you know, they're forced to bring something to the table and they're told to get better and better. You know, you're not playing well, you need to play better today. What's lacking is like listening to everyone else in the room and sort of understanding that I don't have to rely on just everything that I know. If I listen to the other guys at the moment, I can come up with new things on the spot. That's when I'm really like in tune with it, or in touch, or channeling, if you want to say.
So the authentic person is the one who will confront this concrete situation, who will do what needs to be done, who's responsive to it, attuned to it, and who therefore has a certain kind of spontaneity that you don't get if you insist on falling back on rules, principles, procedures, generic formulas for how to act and what to think and what to say and how to be.
When I was only playing classical, I would just read what was on the page, learn it, and memorize it and play it. With jazz, when I'm in that zone, I'm not even thinking about what am I playing or what note. It's just what's going on at the moment with the other musicians, and this is what I'm bringing out. It's really hard to describe.
It's a very common quality for people that are learning how to play jazz to be very introverted with their music. And when you're practicing every day, it's something that you do by yourself. You open up your practice book and you read your notes or whatever, or you practice your rudiments on the drums, stuff like that, and these are things that you're doing all by yourself. And so when you get to a performance setting where you're around other musicians, there's a huge tendency to sort of get in your head and to just go back to what you're used to doing every day, 6 hours a day, is just playing by yourself and not really listening for the ways to react to what's going on outwards. And as you grow older and as you get more experience and as you learn to master your instrument, master music making, you learn to include the other musicians, and then even further include the audience, and also include the nuances and the different sort of aspects that are around the room, and bring that in and use that to help you create the music that you're creating for, because you're always creating music for somebody.
Actors actually have this wonderful expression, it's very Heideggerian, though I don't think they know it, which is that when you're on stage and you're acting, you have to, as they say, you have to own it. That's a beautiful way of describing, you know, going for it and really putting yourself into it, and not wanting to step back and distance yourself from what you're up to. It's very tempting to want to sort of keep the back door open so that you can step out of your actions and disavow them or rethink them or play the scene all over again and so on. But if you're on stage and acting, you can tell when an actor is reticent in that way.
In these kinds of situations, they experience themselves as having the action drawn out of them. And you'll find it in sporting events. I'm sure that you'll find it in music. You'll find it in any domain where operating in the domain requires a sophisticated kind of skill and requires a kind of openness to what's going on at the moment. And that goes also for the domain of living a life.
There's something weird about this tea. I don't know why, but it doesn't pour. So let's not worry about it.
No, go ahead. It's pouring. It's just pouring slowly.
Very slowly. I'm going to give it artificial respiration. I never did this before. See if that saves it. Aha! I could become a tea doctor.